I suppose I'm waiting for someone to speak to me. I don't think that's going to happen. I think I have to do all the speaking. Um, where do I start? I've been thinking about this all day. Well, I've actually been thinking about this since when I got pinged about 8 weeks ago and asked if I would talk. Um, Hoping that what I say makes sense. I've got a good habit of rambling, and I'm hoping to keep it as clear for anyone and everyone as I possibly can. Um, I suppose I've got to start with my journey. I don't know why I'm so nervous to speak about myself. I don't know why I'm so nervous to speak about addiction. I don't know why I'm so nervous to speak about alcoholism. It's all something that I'm really qualified in. I've lived the experience of being completely dependent on alcohol. I've lived the experience of completely dependent and addicted to substances. I, since recovery and whilst in recovery, I no longer have the desires that I had whilst using them. I'm no longer in that position. Um, I suppose I should start by explaining about where my relationship started with alcohol. I think it's a good place to possibly start. So I probably started drinking similar to most people I know. Well, definitely all my friends. I definitely started drinking the same way as them because I started drinking with them. I was early teens, and in my early teens, we would meet up, socialise, and drink. We had fun, a lot of fun. Alcohol and me was a great relationship, a lot of fun. Um, what made me different that I realise now that I didn't realise it at the time was I always drank more than anyone else. I never had enough. It didn't matter how much there was never enough alcohol. Um, sorry. So throughout my teens, it it wasn't any different from anyone else. I drank to the point that everyone else stopped drinking, and I would carry on drinking. I'd drink more. Um, I would drink till I was unconscious. Came into my early 20s, and very similar. We would go nightclub, and we would go out to get messy. That was the intention. We were all intended to go out to get pissed. We all intended to go out and have a piss up. That was the intention. It was the idea was to go out and have a messy night. And I suppose this carried on until 25, 27, and most of my friends grew out, but not all of us. Some of us were still up for going out and drinking all the time. That was part of life, part of culture, part of everything that we had. Um, by the age of 27, I got into a workplace that I really enjoyed. I was looking after kids. I was doing abseiling, rock climbing, and at that point, I suppose my drinking calmed down. My drinking really did just. I didn't require it the same. I was too physically fit to drink. I was too engaged, too connected to lots of other people, and I was enjoying myself, really enjoying myself. I didn't have the worries. I wasn't making mega money. I was making enough to live each day and making enough to enjoy myself. And I suppose now that I'm looking back 25 years ago, the reason I was at my happiest is all the reasons I'm trying to carry on and put in place while I am or where I am now. Um, so yeah, at what stage did I realise I had a problem with alcohol? I don't know that I ever realised or accepted that I had a problem with alcohol. Alcohol was never a problem. Alcohol was always fun. Um, yeah, fun with problems. Again, it's only in the experience now and looking back that I was arrested 5 times before I was 23 years old. All for silly little things. All these things were just alcohol based, alcohol fueled. Most of my friends weren't. I was different in that sense. I didn't have the boundaries. I didn't have the limits. I didn't know when enough. It was never enough, and that's the thing. Until I was comatose in a cell or not knowing where I was, blackout drunk, I didn't have limits to where a drink was. I didn't know my boundaries at any stage. Um, I moved away with work and then moved again and then moved again and moved again. So I've moved quite a bit. And I think every time that I've moved, I've been able to move because all the pubs I was in previously, all the clubs I was in previously, I was banned from drinking, from my behaviours. As an alcoholic, my behaviours were obviously not what I remembered them. The people obviously spotted and recognised. Um, I was thinking this morning about how to say it and what to say and everything else, and I've got lots of thoughts in my head, but they're not just coming out. So I do apologise, but trying not to jumble up and try and keep some structure to what I'm saying. Um, with me, I can look back now and see where things were different for me. I I drank heavily. If I go for the last 10 years, 12 years possibly, I was probably drinking under half a litre of whiskey. In the last 5 years, I was drinking 2 to 2.5 litres of whiskey a day, and that was every single day. I was keeping my job down. Um, I was involved with selling and selling to the public, so it's the sort of job that you do have to be sober for. It's the sort of job you have to be able to cohere and have conversations and be interacting with people. When I started losing the fun for the job, when I started not seeing the challenge of it, I started to become very isolated in what I was doing. Various different friendships, relationships broke down, um, and I just started to really sort of hate myself. Um, there isn't a more painful place I've ever been than sitting with 2 bottles of whiskey sitting next to me, knowing that if one ran out, I had to get another one. That's what dependency did to me. Knowing that when I run out of drink, I became very ill very quickly. My body was dependent on it just to wake up the next morning. I would quite often set my alarm clock, so I woke up an hour before I woke up. My alarm clock was set so I could open a bottle of whiskey and have a good mouthful and then get back to sleep for another hour. Um, by the time my drinking became ridiculous, I'd isolated myself. I'd moved into a bed sit. I was on the bedroom floor most days, completely out my face, um, getting up and trying to function, going to work, and then coming home from work. Um, it got to the stage where I could go possibly 4 hours in a day before the withdrawals kicked in. The withdrawals were horrible. I projectile vomit before I could even speak, before I could do anything, before I could walk. My anxiety, my depression, it was absolutely horrid place to be. Um, and this is where I suppose this being Mental Health Week and everything else like that, it's a place where um, I realise now the important things to me, the connection with people. Um, I had a lot of pride, and that pride came from my expectations, my what I wanted in life. I wanted a nice house, I wanted a nice car, I wanted a good job, I wanted to be well paid, I wanted things. Um, and when I didn't meet those expectations, my self worth disappeared. I no longer valued myself. I no longer um, felt worthwhile. I was unsuccessful. My standards weren't meeting. I wasn't meeting, and I think that's where everything started to go wrong. Again, my pride prevented me from speaking about it and prevented me from asking for help. A word I hate is reaching out, but my pride prevented me from telling anyone and reaching out to anyone and asking for help. I'm not in that place now, and the reason I'm not is I was broken from being on my bedroom floor. I called my youngest brother and said, "Look, I need help. I've got a problem. I've got a problem with alcohol. I cannot stop using it." He came in his van and took me home to my parents' house in Devon, where they looked after me and made contact with EDP. And through the support and love and care of EDP, my parents, my family, my friends, I was able to get into a place in rehabilitation. So I got into a place in Western-super-Mare, a place called Broadway Lodge. Um, and I was initially going into detox, so it would be a 2 week detox. At that stage, I never intended on giving up alcohol. That was not my intention. It was to get control of alcohol again. So I was only going in there to get help, to reduce alcohol consumption, just so that I could live again and go out and party, just go out so I could enjoy alcohol again, so alcohol would become fun again. It seriously hadn't become fun by that point. Um, so I went into the rehabilitation centre. Whilst in the rehabilitation centre, well, I suppose I should tell you how I got there first. My youngest sister and my niece came to take me to rehab. I couldn't get out of bed that morning. I think I'd drunk about half a litre of whiskey, and I was fearful, similar to what I was before I clicked the go live button to speak to everyone tonight. I was really fearful. Um, I was so fearful that I was adamant I wasn't moving. It wasn't until my sister, my mum phoned my dad and got him to leave work, come and pick me up. So he took my bottle of whiskey, took me, and I lay in the back of the car and slowly downed the rest of my whiskey until I got to the doors of the rehab centre, where I finished a bottle of whiskey, which in hindsight wasn't the greatest idea because I don't remember much else except for the fact that there was nothing they could do for me until I'd sobered up a bit. So 24 hours later, waking up in a strange place with a lot of strange faces. An institution is not where I wanted to be, but it's where I'd ended up. They had decided they couldn't start detoxing me because I had too much alcohol still in my system. So I had to wait another 12 hours before they could start. I really loved a drug called Librium stuck in my backside, so that my withdrawals were not as painful and not as horrible. Um, I'd gone from the stage of thinking I was so independent and didn't need any help, and my pride prevented me from asking for help, to discovering words like humility and discovering a lot of other people in similar position, a lot of other people with the same problem as me. There's a lot of people suffering like me, people who've been through the same similar stories, and this was really soothing. It was really made me feel comfortable, made me feel human, made me feel normal. Um, I suppose it was at that stage that I realised that there was slightly more to life than what I was given. Um, Within 3 days, I think it was day 3, possibly day 4, at the stage my memory sort of completely wipes out. My body didn't take too well to detoxing. The I suppose there was too much blood in my alcohol system, if you like, or not enough of the alcohol withdrawal was going. It was flushing, and I took very ill and got rushed to Western Hospital, where I spent. I don't know how long I spent. I think I woke up after about 2 days. I think my family had worried that I wouldn't wake up. I think I know it was a worrying time for everyone, and that's where I think 2 days into it, I woke up. I was hallucinating. I was seeing images of Tasmanian devils running around in the wards. I was seeing all these people, seeing animals crawl all over me. I was fearful. I needed the toilet and stumbled to a corner with some little wet room that looked like a toilet, and there was a mirror on the wall. And as I looked in the mirror on the wall, I didn't recognise what was looking back at me. There was my eyes were completely yellow. My face was completely yellow. I was ill. I was sick. I'd lost who I was, and I, I just stared. I touched the glass to see if it was something else. I touched my face to see if it was me. I was gone. I think it was at that stage that I had a massive moment in my life. I think that moment was absolute fear of what had happened, how I managed to get to that stage and how I managed to get so bad. Um, Whilst looking at the mirror, my feet became warm, and I looked on, and it's just a pool of piss. It's my own piss. I'm standing in my own piss. Um, Needless to say, I was in Western for another 2 weeks or so, and by that time, my time at Broadway Lodge had run out. When I'd gone into Broadway Lodge, this is how stupid it is. While in Broadway Lodge, most people were in there for 12 to 24 weeks. they'd only managed to put me in for 2 weeks. So I'm thinking, well, if I'm only in for 2 weeks, I can't be as bad as everyone else. And it's ridiculous. Sorry. Um, so yeah, from that, I moved back to my parents' house in Devon. I realised I was still not well, if you like. I had no desire to drink alcohol. I was free of the dependency of alcohol, and I'm fortunate enough to get back into a 12 weeks rehabilitation program where I met some amazing people and some amazing connections. Um, People that made me feel normal, human, made me feel worthwhile. I discovered so much about myself, and that's where I am today. What am I? Close to 700 days clean. Um, I went into rehab on the 7th of 11th, 2018. Um, I was a mess. I'm so content now, and I'm so content and so grateful, and of every little thing. I realised that I do want to live. I'm back connecting with people. I'm back enjoying myself. Um, EDP for me has done so much, not just getting me into the rehabilitation, but also in my connections afterwards. I came out and did a 12-week relapse prevention program with them. Again, meeting up with other people that were local, being able to sit and have healthy conversations with lots of other people that working out where things would go wrong, where things potentially where the falls are. I'm in a lucky place now. I'm not dependent on any substance. I've got no desires to drink. I initially gone in thinking that I'll just control it. I genuinely do not have any desires whatsoever. I maybe think of alcohol when somebody throws it in my face and I giggle. I genuinely am so fortunate that I'm no longer in the place that I was. At the moment, I'm just finishing doing a training as a recovery coach for EDP. I've been a peer mentor for about the past year. Um, I'm obviously still working full time. Doing all right. I am doing all right, and I'm doing it all through the help and support and the connection. Um, as I say, the difficult part for me was my own pride. Stopped me asking for help, and stopped me reaching out to people, stopped me engaging with people. Um, for, for me, there is now a lot of hope, and I'm hoping that I can help anyone in any little way, shape that I can. And I'm sorry if I haven't come across as I want to come across. And to be honest, I'm just glad to have finished this Facebook Live. Um, I'm sure if there's any questions, you can always go onto the chat, speak to us on chat. There's Flourish Calf out there for you. Um, EDP is there to support and offer the help that's needed to get you to places that you want. Um, I know as a child, I never aspired to be an alcoholic. It wasn't one of my dreams. It wasn't. I don't think it is anyone's dream. Um, I was going to say it crept up on me, but the more I look back on it, it didn't creep up on me. It's something that's been there for a long time. It's something that I've misused, and something that um, one was never enough. I've always used alcohol to numb, suppress feelings. It gave me a lot of confidence at first. It made it fun, but it later just became a painkiller. Later, it just became numbing. Um, I'm gonna say, please, whilst you're listening to this, if you do want to like, share any of the EDP page, it would be greatly appreciated. The more people that we can connect with, and the more people that can connect with us, the better. I hope everyone as well, and I hope all the acts of kindness that's happening out there with the current situation is helping you to feel warm, loved, and cared for. Have a good evening, and I'm gonna leave it right about there. Take care.